Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome to Your Stocks. I'm Pavitra. With me is Ekta as always. And for the market, things are really looking up, right? Today, 120 points higher on the Nifty. Today was really, all through the morning, a day of those big stocks really moving well, right? But it looks like the mid-cap index, small-cap has also really caught up. And the banks are 160 points off the low. So whichever way you look at it, it's looking like quite a good screen today.
Hi, Pavitra. Yes, absolutely. Peppered with good news, you'd say, because of the kind of reaction that we've seen with regards to Larsen and Toubro, as well as, bigger stocks such as Tata Motors. But like you mentioned, there is a lot of fervor which is taking place in the broader markets as well. And that's really visible in the advanced decline ratio, which has managed to maintain quite steadily at around 2:1. So with 17 or 1800 stocks advancing at this point in time to around 1000 stocks which are declining. But nonetheless, we have a packed show for us this afternoon, and we are expecting a lot of numbers as well. So hopefully we will have a couple of those to reckon with. But this afternoon, we have Rajat Bose joining in on the technicals, and we have Sharad Avasthi who's joining in from PCG Research to answer at SMIFS to answer all of your stock queries. Rajat, welcome to the show, gentlemen. Well, let's start with the first query. We have MG Kapoor, who calls us from Noida. He has investments in ITC. Hi, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, Mr. Kapoor?
Yes, please.
Please go ahead. What is your query?
You see, we read in the BSE portal, ITC is demerging its hotel business. Now, ITC 100% shareholding is with the public. But why then it is giving only 60% to the shareholders in hotel business? Because the hotel business also should be belonging to the public. Now, 40% is going to be retained by ITC. Indirectly, of course, it may mean the same, but it is not directly. Why not do it directly? To give complete 100% shareholding in the ITC hotel business, which is being demerged, to the public. That's my query.
Okay. All right. Well, Sharad, maybe you can get a couple of Mr. Kapoor's queries answered. And if you would like to ask him any questions in return to get more clarity, you can do so as well. Sharad.
Yeah, so I think we need to understand that ITC has multiple holdings from various corporates. While it does show that fully owned by retail people, but there are some corporate investors who hold. So maybe in their internal deliberations, there is a cause that they don't want to hold another smaller company. Many times for larger corporates, that's an issue they have. So that is why ITC holds some part of it as a promoter entity, and the rest they would delve to the retail shareholders.
Okay, Rajat, you want to come in on this as well?
Well, what I would like to say here is that things are pretty much clear that 60% goes as ITC hotel shares to people like Mr. Kapoor who are holding ITC stock, and this 40% that they have retained, this is actually just as Sharad said, that this is as a promoter entity they would, because hotel may need more help from the promoter, from the parent company. So, and especially hotel business, when things are not really that good, especially when interest rate scenario changes or something, that time they may need the help of the promoter. That's why ITC is retaining about 40%. And you, if you do your maths, that way you are not going to lose a single NAB because ITC is keeping 40% and you are being given 60%, because you are an owner in an indirect way, you are an owner in a direct way. Only one thing that you can say here is that maybe you did not want ITC to retain hotel stock, hotel shares at all, any exposure to hotel in the parent company. In that case, you would have sold off the ITC hotel stock, and you would have kept only ITC. But the promoter, that may not be in the interest of the promoter. That's why they are retaining 40%. That can be a point that you are making. And the other point that I personally feel is that what is ITC going to do? It is irrespective of what is happening in ITC Hotel. What is ITC going to do with the huge cash reserve they are holding? Because ITC's other business, especially the main business of cigarettes, generates humongous return. And whereas if you keep that cash lying in your books, it is not earning much. We would say that probably they are earning maybe bank interest or something. So that is actually a much subpar return. So it would be a better concern, that is what ITC is going to do with that cash, instead of thinking about hotels, why are they giving 60% and not 100%. That's my take.
Okay, all right. So that's the view coming in on ITC, which has seen a little bit of a bounce back. Remember that the hotels business is around 20% of capex, whereas it contributes around 5% in terms of sales for the company. But going forward, Ramesh Iyer calls us from Mumbai with a question. He has investments in Tata Power, Titan and Tata Elxsi. So a couple of these Tata stocks that he's invested in. Well, Rajat, would you have a view on this in terms of what? Oh, okay. Well, Mr. Iyer, you are with us on a call. So tell us more about your investments.
Yeah. So basically, Titan, I have about 100 shares. Tata Power about 1,400, and Tata Elxsi about 100. And apart from that, I got RailTel about 5,000 shares. So these shares, of course, I initially took it as a long-term investment, but prices have appreciated. So should I hold or should I take part profits out of this?
Okay, and you have investments in RailTel as well.
RailTel, yeah, 5,000 shares. I bought it at 110 rupees. And
okay, we can add that in. 5,000 shares at 110 rupees on RailTel. So, Rajat, what would you recommend to Ramesh on his portfolio? Tata Power, Titan, Tata Elxsi as well as RailTel?
I would be answering the questions individually, because as research analysts, we are not supposed to be giving portfolio advice. So I take them as separate entities and answering questions accordingly. So first, Titan. Titan, I would suggest that if I were in his shoes, I would continue to hold it, because Titan is a great franchise, and Titan, maybe at the moment it may look that the PE is pretty high and all that, but if you are a long-term investor, you should stay put in that, and if there were to be any further dip, you can actually add more to that. Similarly, if you are looking at Tata Elxsi, I would say that's a very good software company. At the moment, technically speaking, it is looking weak. Yes, it can even come down to its 200-day exponential moving average, which is close to about 7,000 level. Suppose if it were to come to those levels, actually you should be buying more rather than getting out of it, because over a period of time, the kind of return on capital that it is generating, the kind of free cash flow that it is generating over the years, these kind of companies, be it Titan or Tata Elxsi, you would be better off retaining them. Regarding Tata Power, I would say that if I were you, I would have sold and I would have bought into the other two on declines or any other stock, because I would prefer a stock that is generating much higher returns than the current cost of capital. At least if you take 12% as the cost of capital, so if the return on capital is more than 20%, then you better get into that. Power companies do not generate so much of returns.
Okay, that is Rajat's view on all of these investments. Let's also ask Sharad what he thinks. Sharad, come in on all of these investments. That's Tata Power, Titan, Tata Elxsi, and he also mentioned RailTel. So if you could take us through your call on all of these.
See, RailTel or anything related to railways, I think should be held on to as a good long-term bet, because the way the railways is expanding and the amount of expenditure that they plan to do on various aspects of railways, I think most companies associated with railways in one form or the other should benefit largely. IRCTC is the only one that we are not including on the list, because I think that's expensive. Other than that, I think the three Tata companies, Tata Power, I think valuations are more or less factoring in everything at around Even if it trades at 1.7, 1.8 times price to book FY25, the fair value for us comes to somewhere around 200. Though the regulatory change that is allowing plants running on imported coal to charge higher money from Feb onwards should help Tata Power gain some profit advantage with respect to the running of the Mundra power project. But beyond that, I don't see much happening. The renewable energy push is very strong over the next 5-7 years. They expect 80% of the power produced to be renewable in nature. That should be a positive thing. But in terms of valuation, I think the growth should be around 10-11% per annum. So I think getting a price to book of 1.7, 1.8 is more or less fully valued. So at around 200, 215, I think Tata Power is fully valued. Titan, I believe it's a bit on the expensive side in current terms. It is trading at what, around 55, 56 times forward. And I think that's a bit expensive. And if gold rally does not play out, Titan would not gain much out of it. Most of the improvement in sales is out of higher gold prices. And the other two segments are not really growing at that speed. And the way the management has placed long-term bets also, I think long-term projections also, I don't see much upside culminating from here onwards. Tata Elxsi, though expensive, trading at somewhere around 47, 48 times FY25 expected numbers. But their dependence on autonomous driving is something that could drive growth going forward. They have a lot of dependence on JLR also, which was not doing much over the last 1.5, 2 years. Now those numbers are turning around. The capex coming out from there and electrification and automation. Tata Elxsi has already made good inroads into that space. So I think Tata Elxsi as a high risk bet, he can continue to hold, expecting some more improvements to happen over the next 6 to 9 months as JLR starts ramping up. But the other two, Tata Power and Titan, I think he should exit.
Okay, very helpful. That was a complete portfolio review. Mr. Iyer, I hope that helps you coming in both from our technical as well as, our fundamental guests over there. The next query comes in from KS Prakash, writes in from New Delhi. He says he holds 200 shares of PVR Inox, which he bought at 1450. So he is making a profit on this one. Says he's a medium-term investor and wants to know what he should do, whether he should stick with this or whether he should switch. He's open to looking at a different sector as well and, would like views on IT or the financial space. Sharad, coming to you on this one first, your thoughts on PVR Inox. I mean, off late we've had a lot of really solid movie releases, right? Whether it's Mission Impossible or it's Oppenheimer or it's Barbie. Do you think that movies are going to pick up once more and that this space can rally a lot from here?
Yeah. In fact, PVR is one of our top picks. I think as a contra investor, you should be betting on that. The merged entity comes out very strongly, and as you rightly mentioned, the last 3 movies have been good success, thankfully. I think most of the new releases also that are slated to happen over the next 6 months to 1 year, they should be very helpful for PVR. And I think the gradual craze that was there for the shift into OTTs is gradually petering down. And I think movie going should continue to be a very happening thing in the country. A lot of urbanization is expected to happen. Per capita incomes will go up. So I don't think a younger generation will sit at home and watch an OTT. Rather, people will venture out. Further, I think the merged entity has some synergy benefits that they can play on. They are planning around 150, 200 screen additions regularly. That should also play out very positively. I think earnings growth should be very handsome over the next 2.5 years. For FY25, we are modeling an earning of somewhere around 70 rupees. And I think it can easily trade at 30-40 times. So initially start with a target of around 2100. Optimistic targets could be somewhere around 3000 on the stock.
Oh, okay. All right. Optimistic targets could be 2,000-3,000 rupees on the stock. Rajat, would you share that enthusiasm on the technicals for PVR Inox?
Well, at the moment I can say that from the technical point of view, it looks bullish, yes. Immediately the resistance would be around 1600 to about 1625. After that, the next resistance is 1750. And the chart is such that at the moment going beyond that is a little difficult. Maybe if I stretch my imagination, then I can project up to 2000. That's it. After that, we will take a fresh call then, because I really don't track anything about PVR's fundamentals, so I wouldn't be able to comment far longer from here. So up to 2000, fine, and definitely continue to hold it. because it has bottomed out and it is likely to move up from here.
Okay, so both of our guests sounding quite optimistic on this one on PVR Inox. Rajat, by the way, have you watched any of these recent big movies?
You see, the problem is that I want to see Oppenheimer first and my wife wants to see the Barbie first. I mean, now, which one to go for? You know.
Haven't you heard about Barbenheimer? That means you go and watch both the movies on the same day. That's what you should do.
Or both of you all go to separate theatres and pay for only 2 tickets.
Okay, so I guess that's a choice that all of us still have.
Yeah. And Sharad, what about you? Have you seen any of them?
No, I haven't seen. I'm not really a movie buff.
Okay.
I think Sharad is one of those people who's waiting for it to come on OTT. And
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah. All right. So that is the latest on PVR Inox as well as the Barbie and Oppenheimer war, which continues. But we're going to get into a short break. You guys stay with us. We have lots more queries in just a bit.
Welcome back. Well, it is turning out to be a good day for the markets. It is earnings which continue to be in focus. We're waiting by for a couple of the pharmaceutical stocks to come out with numbers. So GSK came out with numbers just a couple of minutes ago, and that stock should come up for you. It is a margin pressure which they've seen this time round. Subdued set of numbers. Revenue is up only around 2%. Plus the margins have been pressured, have come in at around 19%, which is the lowest that they've reported since Q1 of FY23. So it is within that range of 19 to 20%, but nonetheless on the lower side. We have Dr. Reddy's, which is coming out with numbers as well. So do watch out for that. That stock is holding up ahead of its numbers, up around 0.6%. Cipla as well will be reporting its Q1 performance today, and the stock is going into its numbers a little weak, so it's down around 0.5% for Cipla. Should be out before 3:30 p.m. considering that the management is ready to speak to the media at that time. But nonetheless, we do have a lot of queries lined up. We have Rajat Bose, who is joining in on the technical, Sharad Avasthi, who's still with us on the fundamentals. Let's get to another question then. Let's get to Mr. Khan, writes to us from Mumbai. He holds 900 shares of Suzlon Energy, which he's bought at around 15 rupees. He's a medium-term investor and wants to know what to do. What is the future of this particular counter? Well, Sharad came out with numbers yesterday. Suzlon, what is your recommendation? There's a little bit of profit right now on Mr. Khan's investment.
I think you should continue to hold on to it as a high-risk investment. The way the government is refocusing on wind power, the recent regulatory changes are also very positive for most wind power companies. And most of them have their order books full. Most probably Suzlon will also announce many new order accretions over the next 6 to 9 months. And they have also increased their turbine capacity, so that should also help. The change in regulation is very positive. Now there is no revised bidding after once the offer is closed, so that's very positive, and most of the companies have been ramping up very fast. We are expecting around 8 gigawatt per annum kind of bidding invitation by the government for new projects. So that should help Suzlon. The debt has also substantially come down over the last 1.5 to 2 years. It could come down further. So I think there is a possibility that you could be looking at earnings of somewhere around 1 rupee to 1 rupee 50 paisa on the stock. And there is a possibility that the turnover could roughly double over the 1.5 to 2 year time frame. So I think you should continue to hold on. There have been issues with the company in the past, but I think if it is going to report somewhere around 1.5 rupee kind of earning, there is a high possibility it could get around 20-25 kind of multiple. So you could be looking at somewhere around, say, 30-35 rupees on the stock.
Okay, got that. So sounding positive on Suzlon. Rajat, what is your view? I was looking at, a slightly longer chart, and ever since mid-May or so, it seems to have been in this uptrend, right? Do you think that's likely to sustain, and how much of an upside do you see from here?
You see, for any upside in the recent past, I think it touched a high about, say, 2080. It was 2080, I think, if I'm not mistaken. it is 2080, so it needs to take out that level. If that level is taken out, then 23, 24 could be the next target. But one thing that worries me is that the run is quite vertical, in the sense that it was 8 rupees in middle of May. So within 2 months it has moved up from 8 to 20. So you need to be a bit circumspect. Don't jump onto it at current prices, but definitely unless it falls below 16, it won't show much of any weakness. So continue to hold it, but I wouldn't suggest taking fresh exposure given the vertical nature of the current rise, because these vertical rises are always corrected. That's it.
Completely run out of time, but thank you very much. We got your opinion on Suzlon. Rajat, thanks very much for joining in and giving us all of the perspective that you have on multiple stocks. That's all the time that we have in the show, but do remember to email us your queries and we will address them with our experts. Stay tuned. Closing bell up next.